Alright guys, so in the last video we talked about how to change the position of an object, where we basically modify the property of it and just change the position. Now we're going to get into how to change the rotation of an object, so we'll focus on rotation right here. Just as a reminder, these are visual properties that can be seen inside of Unity and we can edit them. If we want to set the position to something different, we can just go into the code and edit it and change the position that way. With that being said, let's get into how to change the rotation, because that's the focus of what we're doing today. How do we go about changing the rotation? Changing the rotation can be very similar to how we did it with the position, but with a couple of caveats. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you two different ways to change position, and then two different ways to change the rotation. Then I'm going to go into the different scenarios in which you will use one versus the other. So, first let's go into the rotation, yada yada, I'm going to skip this, cool. If we are changing the rotation in C#, here's what we're going to do. Just like before, we are going to make sure we're getting the transform component. So let me actually turn off this right here. And what you can first get the component, and we're getting transform. We're getting the transform component because that's the property that's the component that has the rotation property inside of it. From there, this is one way we can change the rotation of an object. We could do dot rotate like that, and that's how we can change the rotation of an object in one of the ways. There's a couple of different ways to change the rotation. This is the first way I showed you guys, and I'm going to show you a better way to do it at the end of the video. And I'll show you why this way will work in some situations but not others. So, dot rotate, and we just put in the 3 coordinates like this. Using this method, you don't have to do the new vector 3. We just have to do the rotate. So I'm going to show you guys how this works really quickly, and I'm going to show you guys in what situation it works, and in what situation does it not work as well. And then I'll go into the better way of doing it. So, this is the code to change the rotation. I'm going to go back to Unity. And I'm going to make a new script. And I'm going to call this script change rotation 1. Just because this is going to be the first way in which we're going to change the rotation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this script to my turret cannon right here. And then I'll just go inside of it. Alright, so the code I have, like I said before, is I'm going to just get the component, I'm going to get the transform component. So do get component, and we'll do transform, because that's the component we want. Then I'm going to change the rotation, so I'm going to do dot rotate. And I will set that to be 0, 0, and I'll set it to be 45, why not? Alright, cool. So what's going to happen, I'm going to run this program, I'm going to get the transform component, and I'm just going to change the rotation to this value right here. Alright, so I'm going to go here, and I am going to run the program, and what should happen is the turret cannon on the z-axis right here, it should rotate up until it gets to 45 like this. That's what should happen when we start the game. So I'm going to press run, and the turret should move and rotate upward. So that's exactly what we want it to do. So yeah, that's one way of changing the rotation. Now, here's the deal. This dot rotate works really good when we're going up in value, but it doesn't work as well when we're going down in value. I'll show you how to make it work, but I'm also going to show you a better way of doing this, so you don't have to think about it that hard about it. So as an example, I have this turret cannon right here, right? And say I set it to like 50. So by default, it's going to be at the 50 angle of 50, and you'll want to bring it back to 0. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go change this code, and instead of it being 45, I'm just going to make it 0. I'm going to save it, and then go from there. When I run the program, you will notice that this code just did not seem to want to work, and it's very weird. So let's see what's happening here. Also, there is a way you can make it work, but I'm going to show you a different way of doing it. So this dot rotate command, right? It works very well if we are doing going from 0 to a higher number. If we're going from a higher number to 0, it doesn't work as well. You can make it work, but I'm going to show you a better way of doing it, and this is the way I actually access all my rotations. So instead of using dot rotate to rotate an object, there's another way we can do it. I'm going to go down here. I'm just going to type in the same code, but I'm going to change up the property we're accessing here. I'm going to do get component. I'm going to get the transform component. I'm going to do .Euler angles like that. I'm going to set that to be a new vector 3, and then set the rotation in that way. So now I'm going to comment this out right here, and I'm going to focus only on this line right here. You don't really need to know what Euler angles are that much. It just very simply, it's a way of doing rotations in Unity. Unity had a couple of different ways of doing rotation. Euler angles is like one that's kind of easy to access, so I use it often. And this is the way we want to do the rotation from now on, because this will be a way where it will work in mostly all situations. So I'm going to save this right here. I'm going to go back here. And now again, remember, the rotation is still at 50. But now, since I'm using the Euler angles instead of the other way, when I run the program, it'll work perfectly fine. So, when you want to change the rotation, use the Euler angles, because that's the easier way of making it work. Again, you can make this one work. It's possible, but just for the sake of like what we are doing, it would be better if we just use the Euler angles from now on, because it'll make our life a lot easier. Alright, cool. So that's two ways of changing the rotation, and then the preferred method of changing rotation in Unity. What we're going to do next is we're going to go into how to change the scale in the next video. But that's it for this video. This is how you change the rotation. I showed you two different ways, and just use this knowledge to complete your task. Alright, with that being said, I'll see you in the next video.